if you're gonna do the hoe tax, right? If you're gonna do the OnlyFans sin tax, you might as well just go all the way.
Can you explain that a little bit? So I see that some of them are upset that you want to impose a tax on OnlyFans creators, 50%, called the BOP tax, the hoe tax. What is this?
It is 50% of everything that people like Sophie Rain make, for the simple reason that we want to stop them from doing it. And so the best way to do it, to stop them, is to create a tax that's so high, SNEAKO, that they don't even want to do it in the first place. And so, look, what THOT stands for is these hoes owe taxes, okay? And what I've said is that I'm going to take this money and improve our school lunches, something that Michelle Obama promised to do and never actually got around to. But look, Sophie Rain owes the state of Florida $42 million. If she's going to be a resident here, if she's going to go around and sell her images on the internet, we want a cut of it. Or if she wants to stop doing it, she can stop doing it. Those are her choices. Give us our taxes, or she can quit OnlyFans and do something actually dignified.
Right, but I'm seeing her argument is that this is going to affect the poor women who just need OnlyFans money to go feed their families.
Yeah.
But would that
I don't buy the...
Would that really disincentivize people that much? Like even a 50% tax, which is how profitable it is?
I think it probably would, Clav. I think if you say, look, if a girl's making, let's just say, $2,000 a month, and now you say, well, actually, you're going to only make $1,000 a month, and you could normally make, $1,500 a month just working a normal, dignified job, then yeah, you probably would just quit doing OnlyFans. The idea is to take down the earnings you would make on OnlyFans so you can actually do something that produces something of value.
But the problem
let's be honest,
typically a
Sophie
supplement.
Rain produces no value.
True.
It's just true. It's just true. And I think the problem is that you got a lot of young women who say, you know what, I don't want to be a mom anymore. I don't even want to try anymore. I'm just going to hoe out on OnlyFans. And then you hear this excuse. I don't know how many women, have you met any women, Clav, in Miami who are actually starving? If they didn't do OnlyFans, their kids would starve.
No, yeah, that's obviously ridiculous.
Right? And so that just becomes the argument they go to. I mean, look, if there are people who are genuinely starving, we don't let them sell their kidneys to pay the rent. If people are genuinely starving, we don't let them sell off and rent their kids out so they can pay their electric bill. If you genuinely have a need, then we should take the money away from the legal immigrants who came here under Biden and give it to people who actually need it. But this idea that a woman needs to sell her body on the internet, look, if you want to do that, that's fine, but we have taken our cut to support the services across the state that we have to fund.
Yeah.
Why not just ban OnlyFans and porn in general?
So I would support that. The problem is the First Amendment does pretty clearly, as it's currently interpreted by the Supreme Court, does protect that kind of obscene degradation. So it's much easier. I'm with you, by the way. So I think I would much rather say that the rough back of the envelope math is that Florida could collect $200 million a year in the 50% OnlyFans tax. That's real money. But I would much rather collect $0 a year with this tax, which means that all of these women just give up on it and go do something actually meaningful and worthwhile instead of hoe out on the internet. And if they did that, then we would actually have a system that says, look, we're going to give up the tax revenue. Now, when you do that, you stop the flow of new content, right? And that is, it's not a ban, but it's pretty darn close within our legal framework to do a ban. I mean, I would love to ban pornography. I actually don't think it's protected by the First Amendment. The First Amendment's actually about political speech. I think when a lot of Republicans said that students who were protesting for the Palestinian cause, they essentially kicked their groups off campus because they didn't agree with their speech. That's what the First Amendment's for. It's to protect people, even those you disagree with. But it's not about protecting people from making those kinds of videos on the internet. And I mean, I'd love to ban it, but I think this is a much better fix that would stand up to the courts.
Just to play devil's advocate a little bit, because this is just me genuinely wondering, because I'm not, the most well versed in like all the economics of it. But wouldn't that lead to like a lot of economic migration just to other states, and then you lose that on all the current revenue that we're already getting from the taxes? Or would it just?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a good point. I mean, yeah, I think that almost is a feature as opposed to a drawback, right? So if Sophie Rain says, I want to keep doing this, but I'm going to move to Georgia or California, that's fine. Move. We don't want you here, right? We're not getting any revenue from her today. If she wants to leave and do it somewhere else, that's fine. But we have to be proud of our state, and I think we are the content the content creator, OnlyFans capital of the world. Like Miami single-handedly, and Florida definitely, but Miami is the OnlyFans capital of the world. And you can't throw a rock in downtown Miami or Miami Beach without hitting one of these OnlyFans so-called models. I know how Cloud feels about it. I can't even call them models. They're so-called models, right? Because they don't actually meet objective beauty standards, but they go out there and they do this, you know. Now, Cloud knows all the terms, right? Well, you can get into all the technical physiological language, but I think if Sophie Rain wants to leave our state because we want to tax her, then she can go. She can just leave. We don't need her here that badly, right? So one way or the other, we're not going to have any revenue as it stands today. And if we pass this and she wants to leave, then get out. That's fine. But I think that what kind of state do we want? I want to exemplify a state where women are actually doing something, like most women are doing something productive. 99% of women are actually doing something productive with their lives. Whether they're working at a clinic, whether they're a nurse, a teacher, a stay-at-home mom, whatever it may be. I think, SNEAKO, that the society that we've gotten to today tells a young girl that, you know, you don't have to aspire to greatness anymore. You're not capable of greatness. You can just sell your body on the internet. If you can't pay tuition this year, or you struggle to pay your bills or move out of your parents' place, the solution is not to work hard or to get a dignified job. The solution is just to hoe out on the internet. What kind of country says that? Like China. They don't let the people, say what you want about China. I'm not going to glaze the Chinese Communist government, but China doesn't let their people do this. Certainly the Arab world does it.
Let's go.
Right? And, well, I mean, seriously, right? Say what you want about Saudi Arabia. There are no women hoeing out on the internet in Saudi Arabia. And there are other debates and disagreements we can have with these Muslim countries. But I think that what the state of our women says a lot about what we prioritize in life. I mean, and a lot of these women, they need father figures in their lives. You got to feel bad for Sophie Rain's parents, with all due respect. You got to feel bad for her parents that she's doing this. Maybe her mom has a Chanel bag and has a nice car, but what kind of society are we creating where 20 years ago it would be unthinkable that thousands, tens of thousands of women in just this state are putting up nude images in the name of doing something worthwhile?
Okay.